What is up, you guys? Welcome to the Connect 007 podcast, and I am your host, Thaddeus Sims. And today is going to be very different. This is a special episode. So, what a special episode is you already know that I do them every Tuesday, but today is Thursday. And this episode is particularly going to focus on guarding your energy, because this came to me strongly at work, and this is something that I hear a lot of people talk about, but a lot of people don't really talk in depth about it and or know what to do. So for this episode, don't be mad, but there will not be a fun fact. We're just going to hit straight to the point for this. This one may be a quick podcast. So diving into this, guarding your energy. What does that even mean? I'm going to go over how to guard your energy spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. Now, the first one is spiritually. So, off the bat, not everyone is deserving of your time and your energy. I repeat, not everyone is deserving of your time and energy. You have to be very aware of that. You have to know who you need to spend 5 minutes with, who you need to spend 2 hours with, and vice versa. So, how do you even know? You have to pay attention to people's vibes. Get around them. You just get around people who are filled up spiritually. Meaning, like, what's their spirit like? Is it good? Is it great? Is it You know, you got to be mindful and keep your spirit happy with good things and good people. So whatever it is for you spiritually, now we all have different, spiritual beliefs, whatever it is. Some of you may need to go to church more. Some of you may need to meditate more. Some of you may not even do none of that. And you just know by going in nature or doing your thing, your spirit is just nice and full. And if there's people who take away from that, that's the people you need to kind of limit your time with. And if there's people who add on to that and they just make your spirit feel full and feel great, you need to, hang around with them. But again, you got to understand that you have to cut your time short. And this doesn't go for just friends. This goes for family members too. A lot of people think, oh, well, they're family. Nah, certain family members, you gotta keep it short with them too, because we all have the certain family members that can be, draining, for lack of better words. And I'm not going to go too much into that because I can go into that. But you just have to be really aware of that and be very cautious of that. And just, look around. Who are you around mostly? And notice how you feel afterwards. When you think of them, is it like, oh, I got to deal with this person? Or is it like, oh, I'm super excited. I can't wait to talk to them when I get off work. Or I can't wait that long, so I'm just going to text them and we're just going to talk. Be aware of that and just get around those people a bit more. Next, emotionally. So this is one a lot of people struggle with. Me personally, I would say I literally just got over the wall of this, but not everyone is deserving of your emotional energy. And there is levels to this. So going through some of these levels is you want to first develop your emotional maturity. Now, what do I mean by that? So I'm going to take a little time on here because, a lot of people just, when it comes to emotions, people either don't want to deal with it, people don't know how to deal with it or whatever. But there's maturities in your emotions. For example, are you the type, if someone says something that they disagree with you on, you get really like angry and pissed and you like, oh, F them, and you want to block them and cut them out your life or whatnot, or you feel some type of way and you don't listen. If you are like that, you can be a bit immature and, you need to work on that. Now, you may not know how. There's books on that, there's books on that, and there's ways to, there's people skills, listening skills, and things like that. You can learn how to develop this maturity of yours. And if you're the type, also, I'm going to say this, for you to say, oh, well, that's just my personality. No, no, you can fix that. You can adjust that. That's an excuse. And that's another thing when it comes to emotional energy. A lot of people use excuses. One of the most common things I do hear, oh, that is just how I am. Or, oh, that's my personality. Or here's the best one. That's my zodiac sign. That's just how we are. No, you can change that. Work on that. Stop being lazy. You can really work on that. Another step up from being immature is if you're a bit between immature and mature. Like, you'll let somebody say what they need to say just so you can react and or yell back at them or fight them. So it's like, I'm gonna let you say what you got to say, and then once you say it, I'm gonna F you up, or I'm gonna say what it is, and then you just say you're done, and then you walk away. That you need to adjust to that, because you're listening only, not, I'm sorry, you're only hearing them so that you could clap back or react to them, instead of actually genuinely like listening to what they're saying and trying to understand where they're coming from. That's like the biggest thing. You need to work on listening to what that person is saying and understanding them. Now, granted, there are some people who are horrible at communicating, and they can yell and they can say stuff very nasty. In that situation, just remove yourself from the situation, because they obviously ain't coming at you correct. They're being a child about it. And from that point up, what you do, so you don't go to jail and or fight them, or it can get worse, you remove yourself from the situation. How do I do that? Say, you know what? Hey, you yelling. I feel like you disrespecting and you coming at me wrong. When you calm down, we can redo this. But until then, I'm not going to resume this conversation. And you just get up and go and leave it at that. That's when you block out and you go do what you got to do. Now, again, let's just say if they was not doing that, and they're saying, oh, well, they feel this, or whatever. Actually understand them. Ask them questions. Don't say it in a slick way. Don't say it in a sarcastic way, but genuinely try to understand. And that can be very hard. But, if you can tone your emotions down and just like, okay, you know what? Maybe they're hurt about something and they're really trying their best. I know them, or you may not, whatever. They're really trying. Let me listen a bit harder to see what is the problem. And don't look at it as they're attacking you, but look at it as a way, okay, they're trying to say something, though they may not know how to say it in the best way that we want them to. It's like you're being the bigger person to go above and beyond that to actually see what the situation is. I personally go through that with a lot of different people. They'll come at me sideways and I could react to them, but I just remember react. If you break up the word, again, acting, you just acting out. So I'm going to be acting again to what they're saying. So I had to learn to respond to people. They'll say certain things and they may say, for example, oh, well, when you do this just gets me angry. You think you know this and that. And I'm just like, no, I don't think that way at all. Actually, I didn't know that bothers you. Wow. Now that I know, I can do better. My apologies on that. What else is it that I do that bothers you, so that I know now that I'm aware of this and I can fix that for myself, so you're not bothered by this and there's no tension, and not saying it in a slick way, saying it in a way that you're trying to seek understanding. Now, moving on to the next tier for this. By the way, guys, leave some comments on this podcast if you would like for me to go into more depth with certain brackets that I'm going on. I'd be more than happy to. The next one is like when you're very mature. And that is just when you know how certain people are going to respond, or people are going to react, or you just know, okay, I'm mature enough to know this person is just not good at communication skills. They just going to say it. And yes, I know if I let it piss me off, I'm going to say something. But that's when you that's when it's like, okay, you be aware of how it's going to be, how you could react. And you know what? You just listen and just say it in the best way that you can. And if they still don't get it and they acting up, then that's where not to go there with that person. You just don't even communicate with them. You just leave it where it is. You did your part. You try and just let it go. That can be so hard for people to let it go, because you want to just clap back, or you just want to say something. But again, it's not worth it. It's really not worth your energy. Like when you get really mad, think about how you feel afterwards. You might feel really good temporarily because you done defeated that person, but afterwards your blood pressure done went up. Now your day ruined. You feeling a bit uneasy or whatever it is. Me personally, I try not to get angry at people, because I know I'll get it out. My head will start bothering me, and I don't want that. And I'll just mess up my whole day. So it's like, be very aware of, when you do get emotionally up there and you give people that energy that you don't want to, just be aware of, okay, how is this going to make me feel later? And also, too, another thing that's helped me with my emotional maturity is that when I say a lot of people aren't deserving of your emotional energy, you're giving that person control over you. What I mean by that is if you just talk with them and you know, okay, by immediately, I don't know, speaking something, boom, now you're pissed off. You just get that person control. You was just at peace. Now this person that made you angry. And now you mad at yourself for letting them make you angry. And that just ruins your whole day. So have that mindset of, am I going to give this person that power over me in this moment or am I not? But really sit down and just kind of let that like really sink into your head. Am I really going to give this person that power over me? Because we don't like that. We don't like when people have power over us. Now, I'm going to leave it at that. Just keep that in mind. Pause it on this and just, marinate. Let that marinate in your head. Another thing, kind of moving up from the emotional maturity, is that's where I've been at. But I want to give this like special thanks to Jada Smith. I watched the Red Table Talk. If you guys don't know what that is, you should totally check it out. It's like really good. I think like all families should check that out. But anyways, Jada Smith said something that really hit home for me. Like I had to literally, and I'm not over exaggerating, I had to stop it and rewind it at least about 8 to 10 times with my eyes closed to really listen hard to what she said. And she was saying that one of her biggest things was reaching emotional freedom. That was very just, I can't put any words to how much like gold and value that was to me, was when she just talked about that, just emotional freedom. I really wish I knew which episode that was off the top of my head. I want to say I think that's the one with Cuddy. I think that was the one. I'm not sure. But hell, if you watch it, you'll see it. But she just talked about emotional freedom and just gaining that. And she just gave examples like, with her kids and her parents, like, yes, they're her kids, but she doesn't own them. And just certain things that, that they do, just how it doesn't affect her and blah, 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 blah. Got to watch the episode because I don't want to butcher it. I love them. But for me, what I got from that, and that's why I said I feel like I just got over this, was just that emotional freedom of people and things and circumstances. It was just that freedom to be like, wow, I'm not giving my power to these things, people, or circumstances. And that is something that is, for me, maybe easy for some people out there, but for me, that was very, very, very hard. I'm very patient, but stuff can still get to me. And when she said that, and I let that sink in, and I meditated on that, it was just like, okay, like I can't say no names on this one, but there are certain people who can do certain, matter of fact, I'm gonna just be blunt. There are certain people by them just living, they do certain things that in the past, I can say now, in the past that irked my soul. But now it's just like, it's not worth it. It's not worth my emotional energy. I'm not gonna give that to that person. I'm not gonna shackle my feelings to this person's actions. And that could be very hard when you have family, but that's like your best like teaching or your best classroom, because you can't run away from it because they're family. So I just really had to just take that L and just like learn through that. Another thing is just with people at work. We can always just talk about how certain people at work that really just, they come in, as soon as they clock in, the whole energy in the building change. And it's just like, I have someone in particular who was like that. Well, he still is, but I choose not to give that emotional energy to them, and I choose to be free. And what that emotional freedom just means to me is just like, I have control of my emotions and how I choose to express them. And I'm not going to allow you, person, to be a complete idiot or ass or whatever it is, and allow me to come out of my state of peacefulness. Now, if I do, that was my fault. I'm going to take full responsibility. I'm not going to blame you. I'm going to own that, because I just gave you a piece of power that I know I shouldn't have. So I'm going to own that. And you know what? Because it's my emotions and because it's me, I know how to resolve that. I know how to fix myself. Because of that, because own that, that means that I will not have to go to you and try to go ask you to apologize or get you to give me that power back of saying, hey, make me feel better, because you did this. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. I choose to not do that. I choose to keep my power. I choose to stay free, and I just choose to not let anything bother me. That right there it will set you like, you will be so free. You will be untouchable. Like, I'm telling you, people can just do the stupidest things and it just wouldn't bother you. Now, that is, like I said, I just kind of got over this. So I can't tell you, maybe give me like a few weeks from now, I can give you some more stuff. But I will say at the moment, it is a vibration that you really have to work on and be mindful of. That's the biggest thing. Is just be very mindful of your emotions. Now, again, some of us feel things very deeply. Some of us feel stuff more than others. And for some of you guys out there, I just say really like focus on you being the solution and not that person, and seeing how you can feel better, how you can take that power back and heal yourself or feel better. And yeah, there are some people who do some effed up stuff. Don't get me wrong. But if there is a chance that you can work on yourself to not let that person bother you, heck, me personally, I look at every person that pisses me off or everything that gets me mad. I look at that as that's an opportunity for me to reflect and see why that's pissing me off. What's in me that's causing that to be pissed off. I look at that as a challenge to be better. So that's just what helps me with keeping that emotional vibration like in check. That may can help you. All right. Now, going on to the next, we're going to go with mental. Now, I feel like a lot of people talk about this one too, but we just gonna dive into it. Not everybody needs to know your thoughts, your ideas, and such. Guard these against those who are negative and share them with those you know to be positive and beneficial to your life. So if you have ideas, if you have thoughts, if you have goals, you hear that. Don't tell everybody your goals. I say that not just because of people going to steal them, because, you hear that. But have you ever noticed, maybe it's just me, but when you say stuff out loud, like, oh, man, I'm going to do this, it's like there's this energy that's kind of lost. Like you just feel like, it's kind of, it's like it's synced. Now, some of you are different. You guys, you may say it and you might feel powered up. Me personally, it doesn't work that way for me. If I tell people like what I'm doing and stuff like that, I feel like I lose the power. And not only that, but in my mind, if you're struggling with that, in my mind, I think of it as like if I just had a newborn child, like fresh out the mom, no clothes yet, fresh out the mom. And it's new, it's awesome. And I'm excited for what is like, the baby to grow and what it can become. But I don't want to expose my fresh newborn child to everybody. I don't need to take a picture of him as soon as he's fresh out. I don't need to share that with everybody. I need to put him on social media. I don't want to expose all of that because, people just crazy nowadays. People just say whatever. And some people, they may care, they may be negative. And some people, they don't care. And also another thing is a lot of people what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of people project their negativities and their fears on you. So it's a way to guard against that. Not saying, not to tell your close friends. Now, your close friends negative, then hell, you don't need to tell them either. But it's just guarding that. That's my mindset with it. It's a newborn. You don't want to expose it to everybody. And heck, do some little surprises when it hits too. Oh my gosh, I didn't know you had a baby. Yep. Yeah, sure enough did, But, hey, be mindful of that. Now, going on to the other spectrum of it is, talking with those people who are positive and beneficial to your life. That's a whole new story. Those are the people you do need to be talking and sharing your thoughts, your ideas, and such with, because you will be very surprised at how fast things will just pop off like instantly. That I have experienced so many times with a lot of different people is when you have an idea, sometimes you just have this thought or this feeling that I need to talk to this individual. Now, some of y'all get lazy and y'all get distracted by saying, oh, well, I'm at work, or, oh, this person probably busy. Nah, shoot that person a message. They'll respond or whatnot. Make it work. Do what you got to do to get that person's attention. If it's something, for real, you'll be very surprised. That person may want to do that exact thing with you, or has been looking for someone to have, that thought or idea. You will be very surprised, and it could benefit you so much. I have met some amazing people to this day by sharing some of the thoughts and ideas that I had, because they're just very positive, and I knew they were the person to go to. Even if they gave me an idea or a direction to go, it just helped me so much. So that's something that, again, I want to say, just guard that mental energy, again, with your thoughts and ideas like it's a newborn, fresh out the mama. Now we're going to get into the physical. Now, I'm sorry, guys, but we're all adults. And if you're not an adult, hell, you're going to be an adult soon. We're going to really get blunt on this. Now, all of my friends who know me, I always say crazy sexual stuff. It's just funny. But those who really know me knows how serious I am when it comes to the sexual stuff. But what do I mean by that? So we just going to get really blunt, and we just going to dive into sex. Okay. You really got to be careful who you mess around with. And here's why. A lot of people say, yeah, you got to be careful because, you might get something, or you don't want to get some type of STD. And yes, that is true. That is very true. But that's just the physical aspect of it. Got to get really deep here. That's just the physical aspect of it. Wrap it up, keep it protected, blah, blah, blah. But on a deeper note, you may not know this, but there is an exchange of energy between you and the other person or parties involved. They give you a piece of them and vice versa. And I've met some people who don't believe in this, and that's okay. If you don't, just, stick to using protection and be aware not everyone is deserving of your temple. That's a serious thing. Not everybody is deserving to have access to your temple. But on a serious note here, do be aware that when you do mess around with people, there is an energy exchange between the two or parties involved. What do I mean by that? What do you mean by there's an energy that's exchanged? Okay, some of y'all is just like, you know what? We're just going to keep it focused. When you do something with an individual, let's just say you just have sex with someone. Next thing you know, the next day you start feeling, weird all of a sudden. You start feeling like people watching you and stuff like that, and you never feel that way. You may just think, okay, maybe I watched some movie or whatever and it's just coming back. Like, no. Be very aware that you may start acting different. Heck, you keep having sex with the person, y'all start acting alike. That's no coincidence there. You start acting alike, y'all start picking up traits. You may have some weird ass desires. Hell, your dreams may change. You know what I mean? This ain't to scare you or nothing, but this is just to be very aware of. Sex is just more than just physical. It is a energy to this. There is an energy exchange to this. And I must say, it's just, it gets you mentally as well. You'll start thinking like that person. Heck, you may even start experiencing emotional stuff. Now, this could be a positive too. You might meet somebody and you have sex with them, and the next thing you know, hell, you hella positive. And you've been negative Nancy for since high school. And it's been 10 years past that. But heck, now you starting to feel positive. You starting to act differently. Hell, you starting to take care of yourself better. You starting to really feel yourself. So there's positives to this. But just be aware that when you just having sex with people, you exchanging some stuff. Now, what do I mean by guarding yourself, guarding your temple? A lot of people say, oh, well, I have a temple. Not everyone has access to it, But some of y'all just be opening y'all doors to anybody. But, that's okay. We talking about it now. Guard it in a sense of know your worth. Know what you've done to invest in yourself mentally. What you've done to invest in yourself just physically, emotionally, and spiritually. If you know that your worth is so much more, it's very high. You can't put a number to it, but you just know your worth. That's something that you just have to know. Are you going to just, for example, I know it can't be compared, but just for example's sake, if you know that you are worth gold and then some, I want to say rhodium too. I think rhodium is this really expensive metal, I believe. but you get the gist. If you know you're worth like a lot and you mess around with somebody they don't know their worth yet, and at the moment they just say they just kind of they're a little dirty, they're a little trashy. Are you gonna throw your gold in the trash, or are you gonna let that trash? You gonna let somebody come in your temple, like, I mean, fresh, clean? You know what I mean? You got nice new pictures over there. The floor is just, you can just eat off the floor. You just gonna let somebody just come and just throw anything on your temple and just leave a mark, all that scratches, and just walk out? Like, no. If you really look at that, like, you're gonna be really pissed. So be aware that some people are like that, and heck, a lot of people have these different fears and unresolved stuff that they're not working on, and you gonna be taking on some of that stuff. So again, this isn't to scare you. This is something just to be aware of. If you don't believe it, that is fine. Keep doing what you're doing, wrapping it up. But now you can't say you didn't know. And shoot, to be honest with you, that's it. That's all I got to say. So on this podcast, I hope for this special, you got something, you learned something, you became aware. Heck, and if you didn't, you enjoyed these 26 plus minutes of me talking. But that being said, I'm gonna end it here. You vibrate higher, and I'll talk with y'all next Tuesday. Later.